Today, being a spiritual virgin, how God can come into you and make you the man you want to be. Welcome to Sacred Grit, a podcast equipping men to conquer addiction and overcome inner struggles through physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines so you can become a man of honor and integrity. I'm Jason.Lyle. Now let's get to work. This episode is brought to you by Oak Haven Diagnostics. What's up, my dude? Welcome to Gritty Wednesday. All right, so let's get right down to business. The virgin birth. Each moment that you have in your life is a moment of opportunity. It is a moment where you get to make a decision as to how the next moment of your life is going to look. Now, most of us are looking to farm out those decisions to something else. So I need God to come fix this. I need work to come fix this. I need money to come fix this. I need drugs to come fix this. I need whatever to come fix this. But I want you to think through, what does it look like for you to come fix this? What that means is to access the thing that is already inside of you, the thing that Christians call the Holy Spirit, or the things that all religious spiritual traditions have a name for. What if you just access that and you just allow that to impregnate you? I like using that word because that's going to make some of you dudes uncomfortable. Impregnate you with God, right? So think about it for just a minute. If every single moment I step into, it makes me think about when Nicodemus comes to Jesus in the middle of the night and says, Jesus, you're such a good man, blah, blah, blah. And Jesus goes, if you really want to see the kingdom of heaven, you must be born again. And Nicodemus says, how could this be? Am I going to go back in my mother's womb to be born a second time? And Jesus says, you're a teacher of Israel and you don't even understand this one elementary thing. He goes, first, you must be born of the water, but then you got to be born of the Spirit. Water being amniotic fluid is what most scholars believe. But being born of the Spirit, being born again, seeing the kingdom of heaven, this is not something that is a once and done situation by evidence of the way that we treat religion in the world, right? If what we were taught in church is true, or what I was taught in church is true, come down the aisle, get saved. When you die, you go to heaven. Why do I ever need to go back to church? Right? I mean, I got my get out of hell free card. I was raised Southern Baptist. You can't lose your salvation in a Southern Baptist church, right? So why would I ever need to go back? Well, that is because we know inherently inside of us that spirituality is not a once and done thing. It is something that we carry into the world every single day. Now, in the church, we call that discipleship, but our discipleship started from a very basic premise of one of these days, when you leave this place, you get to go somewhere else. But I want to kind of reverse that process and go to where Jesus taught Nicodemus. To see the kingdom of heaven, and Jesus did not say that the kingdom of heaven was somewhere else. He meant right here, right now. He actually says it in another place. The kingdom of heaven is already in your midst. So to be able to access that kingdom of heaven that Jesus is talking about, we have to be able to be born again. We have to have the capacity to be able to step into each moment as if it's brand new, as if we're a baby, a spiritual baby, seeing it for the first time. Now, my dude, this takes practice. I believe more and more that prayer is meditation. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that. And Jesus talked about this in Matthew in the Beatitudes, if we sit down and start giving God a list of all the things that we need, is it as if we know what we need more so than God knows what we need? I mean, that kind of makes us God, doesn't it? But what if we reverse that process? What if we sit still, and as our thoughts start to come to us, we find the capacity to let those thoughts go? Maybe that would start giving God the capacity inside of us to tell us what we need. Think about that, right? So instead of me trying to tell God what I need, I am reborn moment by moment, second by second, and I let God tell me what it is that I need. Because here's the thing, my dude. God is larger than just you. The universe is massive. It is this energy of love and self-control and kindness. And that thing wants to tell you, wants to speak to you and give you information. But you have got to cultivate the ability to hear it. So many men I work with are like, I just can't meditate. I just can't do it. I can't sit still. Blah, 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 blah. But then they can go sit in a deer stand or go stand in a river or go walk on a golf course. You name the 900 other things that they can do. So here's what you're telling me, my dude. Out of 24 hours in a day, you can't take 5 minutes to sit still and follow your breath and see if God has something to say. You might say, well, I've heard 5 minutes isn't enough. Well, holy shit, it's probably a little bit more than what you're doing right now. I meditate every morning and I do 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll do longer meditations. But my meditation, I come at it with the intention of being born again when I hit the cushion. I sit down, I set my timer, I close my eyes, and I just start to follow my breath. Now, the reason why I like to follow my breath is according to Genesis and so many other religious traditions, spiritual traditions, our breath is where God is. So I start to follow my breath. I pay attention to it coming in. I pay attention to it going out. And as I do that, I start to realize that I am having thoughts come. And as those thoughts come, I can go, oh, there's a thought, and I let it go. And I come back to my breath, and then I'll have thoughts come, and I'm like, oh, there's a thought, and I'll let it go. But here's the strange thing that starts to happen, and not every time. This is not every time. But sometimes I just have a feeling, usually a warmth in my chest or in my stomach, and it's not really a thought, but it is a thought. But it's different than the other thoughts. And when that feeling comes, it is a certainty of this is exactly what I am supposed to do. And that, my friend, is the Spirit of God speaking. Sometimes I keep a journal next to me so I can write those things down when they come. And then I go right back to meditation. And here's the thing I can tell you with certainty. Every time that happens, what I get from that is exactly what I needed to hear. It does not happen every time. As a matter of fact, it does not happen all that often, but when it does, it is powerful. But I think the only way for me to ever get to that space is by the fact that I practice every single day trying to hear the voice of God. So try it. 5 minutes. Sit down in a chair, wherever, turn on a timer, and just notice that you're breathing. And when you have a thought, let it go. And you might say, I'll have 9 million thoughts in 5 minutes. Well, I'll just quote St. Francis. What a beautiful thing. You had 9 million times to return to the opportunity to hear the voice of the God inside of you. Merry Christmas, my dude. Thank you so much for listening, my man. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. You could drop down into the show notes, go to thesacredgrit.com, find all things there. There's a men's retreat coming up January 23rd through 25th. Would love to have you. You can also book a consultation call down there, and I would love to hear from you. All right, my dude, my man, David Dodd at Edward Jones McDonough. He is there for all of your investment needs, whether it's retirement or you just need a good savings plan. He is a great man, a man of integrity, and he knows his stuff. All right, my dude, we're almost to Christmas. I will see you on Sacred Sunday.